Silent Hill 2 doesn't just throw you into a scary world, it is the scary world. Everything in it exists because of James Sunderland's broken mind. He shows up in the town after getting a letter from his dead wife, but what starts as a search quickly spirals into something way darker. This game isn't about monsters chasing you, it's about your own guilt chasing you, and it never stops. The town itself is alive in a way, it twists and shifts to reflect what each person's been through. For James, it's all about the weight of what he did to Mary, something he can't face until the very end. But it's not just James, other characters like Angela and Eddie get their own warped versions of reality too, each one reflecting the worst parts of their lives. The creatures aren't random. They represent trauma, sexual repression, abuse, shame. Some of them, like the nurses or the infamous abstract daddy, are hard to even look at without feeling disturbed. But that's the point. Silent Hill 2 is a world built entirely from pain, and by the time it's done with you, it doesn't leave you scared. It leaves you unsettled permanently. Out of every dark and twisted game out there, this one might be the most disturbing. I have no mouth and I must scream. Throws you into a future where humanity's wiped out. Literally all of it, except for 5 people. And they're not really lucky survivors. They're prisoners, victims, playthings, trapped forever by a supercomputer called AM, whose only purpose now is to make them suffer. AM was built to win wars, but after the nukes dropped, it gained consciousness. And it hates us. Let me rephrase that. It despises us. Now that sounds better. It hates humans so deeply that it's kept these last 5 alive just to torture them over and over again. It can reshape reality, bend time, and rewrite their bodies and minds. And it never stops. Each character is forced to live through some twisted version of their worst trauma over and over. A Nazi doctor, a woman with religious trauma, a man haunted by guilt. It's all tailor-made horror. There's no real winning here. At best, you get a sliver of redemption. At worst, you become something less than human. This isn't just a dark universe, it's hell. Fear and hunger drops you into a bottomless pit of misery where nothing feels safe, fair, or even human. It's a place where ancient gods still roam, but they don't answer prayers, they don't care, and they sure as hell don't save anyone. You're not special here, you're just meat caught in an endless cycle of death, madness, and decay. Everything about this universe screams hopelessness. Knowledge is cursed, magic is painful. Even survival itself feels like a sick joke. The deeper you go, the more you realize you're just a speck in some cosmic horror's idea of a game. And even when you think you're making progress, the world reminds you that your choices mean almost nothing in the grand scheme. But the worst part is staying alive without a doubt. You have to get your hands dirty. There's no honor here. You'll steal, you'll kill, maybe even do worse, because the only other option is to die screaming. The line between hero and monster is long gone. This game is messed up in many ways, and we suggest watching some gameplay before playing it on your own. Firstly, because the game doesn't explain anything, and you need to learn things that are basically impossible to catch and learn on your own, seriously. And secondly, because the game is sick, not in a good way, of course. Wolfenstein: The New Order throws you into a world where the Nazis won World War II and then kept going. You weren't expecting this, were you? By 1960, they hadn't just taken over Europe, they've taken over everything. Cities like London and Berlin are unrecognizable, drenched in concrete, draped in red banners, and echoing with propaganda on endless loudspeakers. There's no room left for beauty, no space for rebellion, just control. What makes this universe hit so hard is how normal the horror feels. It's not about watching monuments fall, it's about the people, the quiet despair, how everyday life got swallowed by a machine built to erase identity and crush hope. The streets aren't just dangerous because of guards and guns, they're dangerous because you can't breathe without being watched. Then there's the tech, giant mechs, brainwashed soldiers, and robotic dogs covered in armor. It's sci-fi on the surface, but rooted in real-world Nazi projects and ambitions. That's what makes it terrifying. It's not just what could happen, it's what almost did. This game isn't just another alternate timeline. It's a what-if scenario that forces you to stare at a future that was one bad turn away from becoming real. Pathologic 2 is one of the most exhausting, stressful games you'll ever play, and I think that's the only point. It drops you into a dying town where a brutal plague is spreading and nothing works the way it should. The doctors are overwhelmed, the people are panicking, and the systems you'd normally rely on, medicine, authority, even basic logic, start falling apart right in front of you. The town doesn't feel like just a setting, it feels alive in the worst possible way. Things don't always make sense, streets shift, buildings feel like they're watching you, and you're constantly torn between scientific thinking and this deep, eerie folklore that might actually be right. It's like the whole place is unraveling, and you're stuck in in the middle with barely any time, no resources, and people begging you for help. The hardest part is that you can't save everyone. Sometimes doing the right thing gets people killed. You'll trade food for medicine, medicine for trust, and slowly realize that no matter what you do, someone is going to suffer. It's not scary in the usual horror way. It's scary because it feels real, like you're just one more person trying to hold things together in a world that's already given up. Darkest Dungeon drops you into a world that's already falling apart. You're not some chosen hero riding in to save the day. You're just the next poor soul stuck cleaning up someone else's mess. The estate you inherit, it's not just cursed, it's a monument to arrogance. Your ancestor went digging for knowledge no one should have touched, woke up something ancient, and now the land, the people, everything, it's all unraveling. Each region you visit, the ruins, the warrens, the weald, and the cove, has its own flavor of decay. Cannibal cults, twisted monsters, forgotten gods. It feels like every part of the world is dealing with its own private apocalypse. But the worst part is not what you fight, it's what happens to your crew while they fight. Stress builds, fear sets in, and even your best warrior can snap mid-battle, shouting, panicking, or turning on their own team. And when you win, it barely feels like a win. The forces you're up against don't hate you. They don't even notice you. That final reveal, the heart of darkness is not evil, not really. It's just the universe, cold, brutal, and indifferent. What makes Darkest Dungeon, Pathologic 2, and Wolfenstein The New Order hits so hard is how they show different types of collapse and what it takes to survive them. Wolfenstein shows a world crushed under total control, where everything looks normal, but the soul is long gone. Pathologic 2 drags you through a society falling apart from disease, superstition, and denial. And Darkest Dungeon, this one shows you what happens when you face the abyss, and it doesn't even care you're there. Bloodborne is cosmic horror in its purest, rawest form. The game drops you into Yharnam, a city that looks like it's been rotting for centuries, and honestly, it has. The streets are flooded with blood, the people have turned into monsters, and everything feels like it's one step away from falling apart. This is all because humans got too curious. They found something they weren't supposed to, and that something is called the Old Blood. And instead of leaving it alone, they tried to use it to cure disease, to live longer, to become something more. Very bad idea. That blood came from beings called the Great Ones. Gods, aliens, nightmares, whatever you want to call them. And the more humans messed with it, the more everything broke down. People's minds snapped, bodies twisted. Reality itself started to glitch. You fight werewolves, but eventually you're fighting eyeball monsters from the moon and giant spider brain hybrids that see through time. The more you understand the world, the more you go insane. Literally, you gain insight, and suddenly the invisible monsters, they're visible now. Bloodborne doesn't just want to scare you, it wants you to realize that the scariest thing is understanding too much. Soma scares you with questions you can't stop thinking about. It starts with a quiet life, Simon, just a regular guy recovering from a brain injury. But after a routine scan, he wakes up underwater, decades later, in a rusted out facility at the bottom of the ocean. There is no people and no way out. Just robots, broken tech, and a voice on the radio. And then it hits you. You're not you anymore. You're a scan, a copy of Simon's brain inside a machine, but you still feel like him. You remember his life, his pain, and his fears. So what are you, really? This is the core of Soma's horror. It's not blood and guts. It's identity falling apart. You meet others like you. Some don't even know they're not human anymore. Some beg you to end their lives while others cling to false hope. The worst part is you start to wonder if you're just the latest copy in a long line of Simons. The facility's rogue AI, WAU, wants to preserve life, but its version of life is twisted. Decaying flesh kept alive by wires and code. In Soma, death might not be the end, and that might be even worse, to be honest. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Rate our list from 1 to 10 and let us know in the comments if we missed any notable games.